This time, I'd like to talk about some rather unexpected and fascinating information about the Chinese military. I'd also love to hear your opinions as I introduce what's been happening. First, please take a look at this. This has also been reported in Japanese media. The Chinese Minister of National Defense, equivalent to the Minister of Defense in Japan, is a figure named Li Shangfu. He's been making a public appearance to emphasize his presence. Now, understanding the significance of this report requires looking at the context of past events. I'll briefly go over them here, though I've covered them in more detail in past videos if you'd like to check those out. Some time ago, the Financial Times, a UK-based media outlet, reported that Li Shangfu was under investigation. Essentially, they implied that his removal was imminent. However, not long after, Li made a public appearance, effectively refuting the Financial Times report by showing he had not fallen from power. This situation has garnered attention, with the Financial Times article being called into question as inaccurate. To comprehend the meaning of this series of events, where the Financial Times reported Li Shangfu's likely downfall, only for him to later deny it with his actions, we need to consider even earlier happenings. Let's look at this. In September of last year, the Financial Times also reported that the then Minister of Defense, Wei Feng, was under investigation. At the time, this kind of information was considered a state secret in China. Nevertheless, the Financial Times reported this based on U.S. intelligence. Eventually, Wei Feng was indeed removed from his post, confirming the accuracy of the report. This raised questions about how the United States had access to such high-level information about the Chinese Communist Party and military. Observers within China and abroad began to view U.S. intelligence capabilities as formidable, even unnerving. Within the Chinese military, this might have led to fears that the U.S. knew everything about them, making conflict with the U.S. seem nearly impossible. Outside China, many might have concluded that there's a vast gap in capabilities between China and the United States, further tilting allegiance toward the U.S. Now, returning to the current case, the situation with Li Shangfu seems to contradict that narrative. The Financial Times reported that he was under investigation and essentially removed from power. However, China publicly refuted the report. Observers may now question the reliability of U.S. intelligence and suspect that the Chinese Communist Party has taken countermeasures. For example, China might have deliberately leaked false information about Li to expose potential internal leaks to the U.S. by feeding suspect individuals false information, such as Li Shangfu is under investigation. They could monitor whether that information was passed to the U.S. and subsequently reported by media outlets like the Financial Times. If it was, it could confirm the source of the leak. Alternatively, there's another plausible scenario. It's possible that Li Shangfu indeed faced an internal political power struggle but managed to make a comeback. Li is a close associate of Xi Jinping, stemming from his connections to military networks from Xi's days in the regional government before rising to Beijing. If Xi Jinping backed Li, it could explain how he recovered from an internal attempt to unseat him. In this case, the Financial Times report may not have been entirely inaccurate, rather, it reflected an internal conflict that ultimately failed to oust Li. The truth remains uncertain. If nothing further emerges, it might seem that the Financial Times simply got it wrong. Alternatively, we might later learn that there was indeed a movement to remove Li Shangfu, but it was countered. If that's the case, the faction that attempted to topple Li might now face repercussions themselves. In any event, this situation reflects the internal tensions within the Chinese military and the Communist Party, particularly dissatisfaction with the favoritism shown toward Xi Jinping's associates from the former Nanjing military region. If new information surfaces, it may clarify whether this was an act of counterintelligence by China or a matter of internal military and political dynamics. I'll continue to keep an eye on this and share updates as they come. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts on this topic. Also, in the next video, we'll discuss a new development where Xi Jinping's son, after years of silence, commented on Chinese politics on X, formerly Twitter. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching.